Thanks for joining us, everybody. We're clienteling our way through holiday success. And so today's episode, we're going to talk all about clienteling. That's what we're going to do. So clienteling 101, the basics, and even if you're already like, I know clienteling, I'm doing it already, you're going to learn something new, trust me. So let's talk about, clienteling. It's not just process, it's a mindset. That's something I've heard you say before. What do you mean when you say that?
Before I answer it, I want to point out we're all wearing the exact same clothes as we wore last time.
It's almost like
we did back-to-back
still
episodes.
October 10th
Wow.
10 a.m.
Look at the beautiful outdoors. We are, by the way, not live. We are being taped in lovely Salt Lake City.
We are.
So before I answer the question again, you and I had a conversation earlier today because the word CRM.
Yes.
And I hear the word CRM a lot, and I hear the word clienteling a lot. CRM stands for what? I don't know if you...
Customer relationship management.
Customer relationship management, right? It is a very broad concept, and CRM is the whole customer life cycle, right? It's the marketing, it's the database, it's all of it. Clienteling is a subset of that. And I get very passionate about the use of the words because I stood in front of a bunch of people once, asked for a whole lot of money to build a clienteling system and a CRM. And at the time we had data in 27 different places and we were pulling it all together and blah, 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 blah. And we were building a CRM and we're building a clienteling system supported by the CRM, right? And look, we work for Clientbook and we want you to use Clientbook. But clienteling, to your point, it isn't a process, isn't a tool. It's a mindset. It's how do I want the customer to be treated? Mm-hmm. Do I want to develop a relationship? Do I want to reach out to them? It's not mass messaging, right? It's not, let me send out 1,000 texts to say, come in for a promotion. You guys have heard this story. A lot of the people who are listening who know me have heard this story. But I remember day one walking into a jewelry store. And Mark, hi Mark if you're out there, handing me a little plastic PT notebook. I was fresh out of the Army. I hadn't sold before. And saying, look, jewelry is about relationships. We're not going to sell it once. We're going to sell now, and then we're going to sell 4 gifts to him later, and then we're going to sell the mom and the kids and da-da-da-da-da. If you build relationships, you will sell more.
And that's why I think people go into jewelry. They're not the business tycoons. They're not out here like, I'm going to go make all this money. They're like, I love jewelry. I love design. I love art. I love people.
Yeah.
I love being a part of that beautiful moment where, the nervous guy comes in and says, oh, I really need to do something for my wife. The holidays are coming up. That's just is touching hearts, know? And so that's why I think it's valuable that we can do stuff like this because they've already got that, they already understand the relationship. And so just giving them a little nudge into the business part of it, into getting it right so that they can get people back.
100%. And keeping it organized.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a horrible memory. I used to write notes on a piece of paper and then I got an Excel spreadsheet, right? But you need to be able to keep it organized. If you're going to make promises to customers, you need to be able to follow up with the customers, right? And we want to make customers, gift givers specifically, men specifically, heroes. So now I'm going to pick on Josh for a second.
I love it.
So Josh and I had a conversation, I don't know, maybe 2-3 months ago, him and his team. And I said, who here buys jewelry for their wives? And not one hand up went in the room. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And all of them said, well, my wife doesn't want jewelry. She wouldn't like it. And I went, that's nonsense. Of course she would like it. Right? And so we had a conversation, and tell me what you did.
You're a great salesman. That's the first thing I'm going to say. You're obviously really good at your job. No, we had a conversation. And again, going back to what Gabrielle's just said, it's all about the relationships. Yeah. Jewelry was the last thing that kind of came up in this conversation, but you talked about her interest. You talked about what does she like, what does she doesn't like, what makes Tori tick, right? And a lot of it kind of boiled down to her interests, her hobbies, her family kind of specifically. But then very specifically, we have 2 kids now. We just welcomed our second daughter 7 months ago now. Actually, no, 7 months today.
And the bags under your eyes?
Yeah, they're still...
No, they're great. You look like a freshman.
Okay, no, I was up late last night with Andy. Anyway, But it kind of boiled down to that, right? And then talking about, what does she love? How can we then represent what she loves with jewelry? Like it finally came to that point, right?
Yeah.
You came up with a really great idea, really good suggestion. It was simply just birthstones on a necklace, right? It started with birthstones. It wasn't necessarily a necklace, but we talked about, could this be a ring? Could it be a pendant? Could it be a necklace? Whatever it may be, right? But again, getting to the root of it, like this, she absolutely loves her 2 daughters with her whole heart. Let's represent that in a way that is meaningful to her. So I went out, I designed it, which again, I will say again, like you presenting this vision to me, it ignited something in me, and I had fun helping design this necklace that I gave to her, and she wears often now. It's something it's her go-to now jewelry whenever we're out and about. She needs it, right? And it's something that when you're tying emotion, and that's what I love about jewelry.
Yeah.
And there's just so much emotion behind it, and if you can tap into that emotion, I now have a go-to person, but I want to then keep on expressing that love or expressing.
And that's the key, right? Now we get into clienteling, right? And we talk about different types of customers, right? And so, and this is not, marketing cohorts by Bain. This is base customer stuff, right? You have a customer that walks in your store, who walks in and walks out and didn't buy anything, right? Typically, that's 80% of your traffic flow.
It's so high.
It's so high. And I've had, no, it's 50. And then we go back and do you have traffic cameras? No. Okay, well, let's get some traffic cameras. My people count. Okay, well, so the people aren't counting 43 the people came in because they don't want to be yelled at, right? The reality is for 20 years, conversion in jewelry was between 12 and 22%.
Right.
Okay? That means 80% of people walk in and walk out.
Yep.
Somewhere along the line, you paid some money to get them in. You either did a billboard, you did TV, did something.
Marketing.
If you don't capture that customer, you won't see them again. You never have a chance to build a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. You then have the one-time shopper, the drifter, I call it. You would be a drifter. If you had walked into the store, if we had this conversation, but if you had walked into the store or whatever, and we had talked and you bought that one thing, there's a strong possibility I would never see you again. Mm-hmm. But if I sent you a note, how'd she like it? And like a month later, I sent you a note and said, by the way, I know your anniversary's coming up, or Christmas is coming around, and I said, why don't I get her the matching ring? And spurred that thought process for you, you're far more likely to come in. Mm-hmm. So how do I take the just looker who walks in, who's maybe not going to buy, but how do I at least capture that, give them an experience?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How do I take the drifter and get them to buy more times? Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we have...
Yeah, the loyalists. People are coming in no matter what because they love you. Because I think with Josh's story, like his... Tori, she's connected to the jewelry, the specific piece, not the store, not the brand yet.
Right.
Yet. That's where the clienteling would
He might
happen.
be connected to me a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but seriously, this dude, John Helton, you're right. It's not the brand.
The person that he worked with. And so I think that's where you have to go from them loving the piece to loving the person they worked with, and maybe those go together to loving the brand.
Yeah.
And those are kind of some tiers.
And I think in the case of a Josh, right, like, I don't know your jewelry habits, but women are typically far more like self-purchasers. Mm-hmm. Like 100%. You're far more likely to go and keep buying for yourself.
I'm going to keep buying because I know what I want. And Eric, my husband, he doesn't know what I want. Correct. And I have to coach him a little bit. So it's so much easier to do it myself. And, it was just my birthday last month. And so I had something come in the mail. And Eric goes, oh, what's that? And I said, oh, that's your birthday gift to me.
So can we unpack that for
Absolutely.
a minute? Okay. So... how do you think Eric feels when that happens?
I know, he's not the hero in that moment. He's not.
No, right? Or if he does go out of his way to try to buy you something, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have a gift receipt?
Yeah, right.
Right? So how do we make him the hero?
Yeah, right. We gotta do the work there.
Right? As a jeweler.
Right. Yes.
Right? I want to make you a hero. Now, I need to know Tori.
Sure.
And we get into more like advanced clienteling.
Yes.
If I was doing my job well, I would have sent a message to Josh and said, hey, can we get Tori in the store? I'd love to see the necklace. Can we clean it for her?
Yeah.
Now I build a relationship with her, i.e. you.
Yeah.
And how do I get you to build a wish list? And then
that's your cheat sheet.
Your husband and hero.
Yeah, that's the cheat sheet he's got, because I went in and picked out the pieces, and he's got the full list, and that's going to be a home run no matter what he picks. So.
Let's talk a little bit. Look, you have your background is marketing.
Yes.
Mine is not, right? And so we're not going to talk entire customer journeys, but if you were to break down the customer journey into like 3 really basic steps, what would they be?
So first, you got to build the awareness. They need to know who you are, first of all. So that's step 1.
And that's before a sale even happens.
Exactly.
So if you look at it in terms of before the sale, right?
Yep, before the sale.
Yep.
And then you get them in the door, because you build the awareness. So then there's the during, there's that during process. And so there's that, you get them in the door, and then you get them to buy something.
Right.
And then there's the after, so that's the before, during, and after. So
Yep.
you got to build the awareness, get them through the door, get them in there, get them to buy something, and then the follow-up happens after that.
So in terms of clienteling, right? So we have marketing capabilities at Clientbook. Not all clienteling tools do.
Right.
Some clienteling tools call themselves clienteling tools, but they're really just mass outreach tools, right? But in terms of before, how does an application impact the before, meaning a customer who's never shopped us before? Because we're not putting up a billboard.
Correct. Well, so that's one big thing that I just wanted to highlight. In all of these examples, we have a really good conversation. Let's say I do bring Tori in, you have a good conversation with her. What are you doing with that data? I'm a very data oriented, so I'm going to use that word, but what are you doing with that information? Are you, if as soon as I leave, you just go, cool, awesome, I'm going to try to remember Josh, I'm going to try to remember Tori and the name of her sister and when her anniversary and when her birthday is. Are you going to just try to remember that? Okay, well maybe you're going to write it down on a piece of paper. What if the cleaning crew throws it away, right? Anyway,
I'm laughing because that happened to me the other night. That literally happened to me. But let's just stay there, because before, from a marketing standpoint, can be the customer journey. Just so everyone, I think you probably know this better than me, the average customer specific when it comes to bridal does 4 or 5 touch points before they buy something.
Right. Sure.
So they could have been in your store twice, 3 times. They could have been on your website. They could have been somewhere. How are you capturing that information, and how is that getting to the associate so when they do walk into the store, they can do something with it?
Yeah.
But the before is also actually literally before, right? When you're standing in front of me and have not made a purchase, that's still before the sale. So how am I building out the profile? How am I asking open-ended questions? How am I getting to know you? But the before also starts immediately after the during. After the buy, right? Because now there's another before.
Right.
Right?
Before.
Right? Because you bought the necklace before, now there's another before, right? During the sale, what happens and what's important to note from a clienteling standpoint during the sale? Like, how am I using a tool? What do you think is super important?
Well, it's inputting the information.
How am I getting the information?
Well, by asking questions, by clienteling, by being personable, by gathering that information.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, this is what's super interesting, and I can't wait until we get into the future episodes and we talk about how to use a clienteling tool. The biggest obstacle to effective clienteling is inputting the information. People are like, oh, I don't want to integrate you. I don't want to have to put it in my computer. Right? And look, the best salespeople, they ask questions. They ask what we call open-ended questions. Right? Tell me about your husband.
Yeah, not just the yes or no
kind
of thing. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a mechanical engineer, so he's super smart about those kinds of numbers and data, less smart about the social, emotional side of things.
And that's great.
Yeah.
So that, to the tool, that's the piece that when we talk about training and development and the tool, how you make that connectivity is super important. And I just want to seed that kind of out there now, because during the sale, the other piece that's important during the sale, right? Because we talked about before happens, I've never sold to you before, but it also happens, there's another before. So you and Tori. You walk into the store today, I've invited you in. what do I want to know about you? Like, my memory isn't great. Like, I've worked with you forever, and I know, like, Tori, I don't remember the birthstones. I think one was April, maybe. And the other one, May? March.
Yep.
Come on. Right?
Ben was there.
Let's go. Well, no, I was trying to remember when we were going to go play tennis, and it was called. Right?
Yeah.
But the reality is, how do I use a clienteling tool during the sale?
Yeah. I think because, like, the way that I would like to be sold to is I come in, Eric's there, you know, we're looking at stuff. I've never been there before. And, you know, they're kind of, I'm looking at stuff and they say, well, let's just start like building a collection of stuff that you like so you don't have to remember it all. You know, like I love glasses, and one of the one time I went in, this is a little different, but I went in to buy glasses, and the sales associate, she started pulling some. Like, she saw which ones I was looking at and she started pulling some. And she was like, these are the ones you'll like. And if they had like a clienteling system where they could put those in a wish list for me, that would have been great, because I was sitting there taking pictures of all of those. You know, she could be like, oh, it would have the price, the SKU would be so much easier, you know? And so I'm so willing to be like, oh, put in your information, because it's like it's art. I don't have to take those pictures, you know?
That is super important. So I want to make sure, first of all, glasses and hairdressers, I think, are the closest things to jewelry clientele.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I get so annoyed when I walk in and they're like, what do you want today? I'm like, you've cut my hair 47 times. And it's not complicated. It's like a number 2. And like remember number 2.
Yeah.
Right? But glasses, by the way, right? Super personal. How you look, all of it. And you said something right at the end there. You said, I want them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I want them to take the information. And that's the key, right? It isn't an interrogation.
Right, no.
It's a conversation. And during that conversation, I need to make it compelling. I need to build enough trust in the relationship to where you're going, yeah, I want you to take my information.
For sure.
And
Because it could be an interrogation if you do it wrong.
Correct.
Right? And so they're like, let me get your information. What's your phone number? And you're like, what are you going to do with that? You know? But if you make it the conversation, it doesn't feel that way anymore.
Yep. And it comes from a sincere place of wanting to help.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about during you want to build the profile through additional questions, but you also want to use the application, use the information to enrich the sales process. I don't want to have to repeat my birthstones are, the ring size is, this is her style. I told you all that, and if you don't know that, you don't remember that, then clearly it wasn't sincere.
I mean, to that point, like, nothing would lose my trust more. I bought this necklace from you, and then 5 to 6 months later, if I came back into the store, sure, you're going to have to like jog your memory like a little bit. Like, you didn't remember the birthstones immediately, right? But if you had that tool, but if I came in and like if I had to start from fresh again, I would just be like, okay, there's another jewelry store like
because
just
we had a really good like it was an emotionally based conversation.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's super important, right?
Yeah.
You know, and then the after, you know, it feels obvious, but I'll like this is your core competency. Like what happens after you walk out the store?
Me as a sales
as a Clientbook rep from clienteling,
Sure.
like what do you see works best, and what should we talk about in future episodes after the sale?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited to dive obviously into the technical side of things, because not only do I have like the data to back it up, but the stores that I see, the ones that are successful, understand this process that's before, during, and after. And so after the sale, based on that enriched profile, let's take that into consideration. If I have a profile where it's literally just Josh and his phone number, sure, I want to follow up with him afterwards. I have no
context.
I have no context.
Right.
Following up after what? Like, I have nothing. And so if I have a dead profile, there's nothing to follow up with. Sorry, dead.
No, I kind of like that. No,
I don't know.
That was a let's keep that word. Do you have dead profiles?
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like on a
I
reporting,
see
dead
dead
profiles. That actually could be bad.
Anyway, no, but so afterwards though, I mean, but it's all about enriching the profile. Like, I love that word that you use. It's all about enriching the profile. So afterwards, to your point, I want to use a phrase that you utilize. Like, I want to buy glasses. Like, I'm coming in, I want to make this purchase. As a sales associate, I want to follow up with Josh. I want to follow up with John. I want to. So, but how I'm doing it is important to have that. Again, that data. Am I following up for a birthday or anniversary? What other life events are coming up? I know my 2 daughters, their birthdays are coming up. Like, it's just different things. And so not only do you have to want to follow up with them, but you also have to have enough on the profile to have a reason to follow up with them as well.
How-
If you're following, sorry, but my last
Yeah,
point,
no,
if you
no.
follow up to me out of the blue 2 to 3 months later, but there's no real purpose behind it.
Yep.
Again, the purpose could be a clean and check, or like there are obviously things that can be built in that are good reasons to reach out.
Yep.
But if you reach out to me 3 months later, I'm like, why is John
Well,
texting me?
I was going to ask you, how old's your oldest daughter?
A little over 3 now.
A little bit young.
Yeah,
But 2 years from now, I'm going to sell you a bracelet,
love it.
an add-on bracelet, and then you're going to buy her a charm every time you travel, every occasion.
Aww.
It's one of the coolest things you
That's
can
so
ever do.
cute.
It's literally one of the coolest things you can ever do. And I used to bring my daughter. I get like right and like it, and then she's got this beautiful thing. And when she's 18,
Yeah.
you built this like.
Absolutely.
But there's no way I would remember to do that if I didn't have a system.
Right.
I'm gonna put you on the spot for a second.
Okay, lay it on me.
I'm gonna seed it a little bit. I have a incredibly bad bias against mass messaging. I am wrong. I understand there's a purpose.
Sure.
Okay, but if you would just sort of talk a little bit about mass messaging and the impact
Yeah.
versus personalized messaging
Right.
after the sale, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
topic.
Well, I think if it's a choice between no message and mass message, you go mass message because
Well said.
there's some value to it because you know
Yeah.
I get tons of mass messages. I'm a big birthday rewards person. I love getting free stuff, so I
Okay.
sign up for all the things, and that's why I get mass messages all the
Love
time
it.
because I'm on all the lists. And so, have I bought something because of a mass message before? Absolutely, you know. But am I more likely to buy something if it says, "Hey, Gabrielle, your birthday's coming up. We made a promo code for you, Gabrielle 20. It's 20% off."
How about a hey Gabrielle, I just got a new pair of glasses in that are going to match the color of your hair perfectly.
Yes.
And there's no promo.
100%.
Okay.
Even without the promo. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think there's those 3 tiers. It's not just mass messaging or personal. And I think one of the really cool things about Clientbook is that you can do mass messaging and still make it personal by segmenting. And so we've got these tags in there, and Josh will talk about these in more detail in later episodes, so I don't want to steal his thunder a little bit. But you can tag, say, here's everybody who's ever bought a Gabriel & Co. before, and you have a Gabriel & Co. event coming up. You can send a mass message and say, hey, I know you attended our last year's Gabriel & Co. event. We've got another one coming up. We'd love for you to go. That's technically a mass message because you sent it to a ton of people, but it's still personal.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is there is a place, John,
Yes.
for mass messaging,
Yes.
but it has to be part of a plan.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
There has to be a rhythm to it. And what we'll talk about later is how you identify your, not necessarily top customers, but the best customers that will be activated by a personal messaging and hyper focus on them because they're more likely to react to it.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
I love this. Let's talk about some key strategies that we want everyone starting to think about as it relates to, as we build the episode, right, and as we get into the next piece, which is actually making some tactical plans.
Right. Yes.
What are some things that we should recommend that I want people thinking about now?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to capture every customer.
Okay.
You need to you need to gather that data, and I use this as like a bad analogy. Even if you got just the name and phone number, that's at least a good starting off point.
Right.
But every single person that walks into your store, you should have a record of them.
Yep. And in a perfect world, I had unlimited resources, and can I call on one of our customers? I'm going to. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
So Smythe Jewelers, if you've never been to Smythe Jewelers, they have an amazing business model. And they have a manager greeting every single customer.
Wow.
It's incredible. And by the way, their traffic is through the roof.
Wow.
Right? And they greet, they acknowledge, they assign. Right? That's fabulous. That's not repeatable for most jewelers.
No, right.
And so if I'm out there going, John, greeting every customer is just not realistic, just to seed the next conversation, right? There is the ideal situation where I'm saying, hi, welcome to Joe's Jewelers, blah, blah, blah. But we've got tools specifically that we use, whether it be QR codes, kiosk mode, that I want everyone to really think about when we get there.
Yeah.
That will help at least the customer capture piece happen 100% of the time, right? We talked about profile enrichment, right? I love it. I don't think we're going to use it, but a dead profile, right?
empty, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take name and phone number, then just send them a mass promotional outreach, and the world's not over, but it's not going to do any good. By the way, you're going to get a bunch of opt-outs. Right? The more you put in, the better the output of the message for outreach, but the better the next sale will be, because I remember Tori's name. I remember December and March. I remember that your oldest is going to be 4 years old. Like, those are the things that we have got to like really hone into, right? And that ties also into like using clienteling during the sale process, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about personalized outreach.
Yeah. So, what are you looking for?
I just, when we talk about strategy, we talk about customer capture, we talk about profile enrichment, right? We'll talk about sales opportunities and how to use them, but that's a bigger subject, so we're going to come back to it.
Okay.
But as you're out there and you're talking to our audience and they're making their plan, right? And we talked about mass outreach versus personalized outreach. What should they think about?
Yeah, so I mean, the more personal you can get, the better. Okay. And there's pieces of the information that you're going to have in your client profile, and I think that's why the enriched client profile comes before the personal outreach. It's kind of, it needs to come first, and so you can get the name, you can get the ring size, you can get the metal preferences and those kinds of things. And so, because when I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's up there, like between like 80 and 90% of people want personalized messages. It's so high. And so, it's one of those things where I think a lot of people think, oh, people like marketing fatigue, they're getting all these messages, but especially text messages, like you're not getting as many text messages from email or from businesses as you are emails. And so if you're texting, you're already in like the friend category more so than the business.
Because I can opt out so easily.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so that moves you already into the personal because you're texting, so that feels more personal. And then add that second layer to it of remembering their name, remembering whatever. It's like you're just that much better.
And for everyone out there, thinking about, oh my gosh, that takes so much time.
Right.
There is a way, specifically through our platform, that you can personalize it using AI, using templates, and still make it ultra personal, one-to-one, but not in a long period of time.
Yes, absolutely.
The other things we're going to talk about from a strategy standpoint in future episodes, but I want to make sure we give in this commercial, right, is reporting on everything you do, but celebrating the wins.
Yes.
And this is important, 365, but during Christmas, you're not going to change negative behaviors. A little bit we will, right? But get off people's backs. The other thing is, human nature is you will change behavior quicker when you repeat something you're told you've done well, as opposed to being asked not to do something.
Right, the positive reinforcement.
Right?
Yeah.
And literally going, wow, you did a great job today of opening up your laptop. Right?
Right.
Ooh, I'm going to open my laptop that way every single time, as opposed to stop opening your laptop that way. Right?
Yeah.
So celebrate the wins. We'll talk about great reporting and specifically what to do. And then the last key strategy for success, which I think we don't get till like episode 6, is special events.
Yes.
Trunk shows, right? It's typically 15 to 18% of your holiday business. Let's talk about how we can do a really good job of getting those prepared.
Awesome.
Where are we going from here?
Okay, so I think, so with clienteling, you're using Clientbook or your clienteling platform to transform those lookers into clients, those drifters into loyalists, those kinds of things. So next we're going to talk about some of those tactical things that you can do for the holidays and move that in.
That's amazing.
So awesome. So thanks so much for joining us, Josh.
Let's do it.
Does the team thing? No, we're not going to do it every time.
No.
Okay, go team.
Go team. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.